Oh, you did. Thank you. Kia ora, good morning. Welcome to our. Whoa. All right.
You're in the room.
Everybody. Yes. Welcome to our 4th of March meeting. I mean, it's unbelievable that we're in the 3rd month already, but I'm just going to whip through the order of business because we've held Rob up 8 minutes already. But health and safety, you all know the exits and our assembly point. We have got a leave of absence already granted from Councillor McPherson. We normally would start with an affirmation, but I'm not going to use the affirmation today, but it doesn't mean to say that reduces the integrity we bring to these discussions. Is there any conflicts of interest today? Thank you, and we do have a recording in place. Thank you, April, for sitting in today in Graham's absence. And we have any urgent business? That's great, thank you. So it's always with great pleasure that we have you with us, Rob. It's great to keep in contact with your team and our team and understand the issues that are sort of front and centre for your policing. You're a really important, obvious part of our community and keeping us safe. So, you know, we've had some really some motor vehicle accidents of note in the last wee while, which is always traumatic for our district, but actually it's probably equally so for your colleagues that attend those accidents. So, you know, thank you for all of that work that you do on our behalf. But kind of we'll just open it up from your perspective, tell us your story, and then we'll see if there's any issues for councillors. We're probably morning tea scheduled for about 10:30, but we can see how we go on that one. Yeah, but we do have another presentation due at 10:45, so we're in a bit of a time walk. So over to you. Thanks, Rob, for coming.
Thanks, Mary. The start of the year was pretty quiet actually for us, January, which was pleasing, and it actually generally is. So it's changed in February, and we've been flat out. You said, sort of the motor vehicle crashes and other deaths as well. They take a big toll on the team actually, more than people realise, and more than I realise sometimes too. I think, you know, so the welfare aspect for my team is quite big, and we have got a welfare team, but it's not only us, it's the firings and the ambos and let alone the families of everyone involved. It is tragic times, but we are out there still. We're enforcing what we can, but people still run into each other or cross the centre line, and so yeah. And what the answer is there, we just got to keep on doing what we're doing. And sometimes it's a matter of luck. I think sometimes it's only a couple of millimeters, or it's between life and death. But yeah, we are certainly focusing on speed mainly in the whole district. Is really a big focus nationally, as I said before, with speed and the other crash promoting offences, alcohol and seatbelts and what have you. But speed's probably the one we have been. It's come out from town as well, because there's a real focus on anything above the 80k speed limit. That's where we're seeing the most deaths really, because anything below 80 is much higher chance of survival. So the enforcement of that in the city is harder because they haven't got those 80k and above roads. So we're being asked to do more out here, which is fair enough, and they're doing some of the other stuff, the alcohol, to keep NZTA happy and play the game. Family harm has obviously been quite a shift in how we do business in that area. Working pretty well. we're happy with the way things are going. We're attending all the jobs we can, and we are trying to push the services back to the NGOs that they should be doing anyway. And we've got some a meeting with a group out here soon with the ISR team and our prevention manager as well, to just inform everyone what our new way of business is looking like. But as I was talking to the area commander, and he's quite happy with the way it's working. And quite a bit of talk, I guess, in communities and different groups that how police are pulling away. But we've been out of our lane for quite a long time, and we're just trying to get back in our lane and do our core business, and that goes with mental health as well. Same focus is getting back to our core business and trying to get mental health or health in general and family harm doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway. And it's quite hard, especially the mental health space, where we still have to make sure people are safe and go to those jobs and keep the mental health workers safe as well. But, so we are still there, and we are still transporting people that are required to, but we're trying to make sure that those assessments in the community are being made by the correct people rather than us trying to pretend we're mental health workers when we're not. So yeah, a lot of work going on in the background and higher up around those two areas. We've had some good success recently with dishonesty offenders, around at Amberley and elsewhere, where there's been a bit of talk, I think, probably in Amberley, that some people playing up. They've been arrested and are in custody, 2 of them, the main ones, causing a few people angst in the Morris Road area. The locals, which was fair enough. Guy was running up and down driveways, yelling and screaming, and causing a lot of anxiety, especially the older people, which is very nice. But he's no longer with us. He's tucked up somewhere else. So yeah, we are out there getting the bad guys and making sure they're held to account for what they're doing. So we just need that information keeping on coming from the public, which is a bit of a battle sometimes. As I've said before, we hear it anecdotally and on Facebook and all that. We need to hear it firsthand, and for people to make a statement. Sometimes people are too scared, and that's fair enough, but we need people to stand up and make those statements so we can actually prosecute people. It's quite a challenge sometimes, but that's what we deal with. We've got to deal with the facts and get the evidence. But otherwise, we're ticking along quite nicely, I think.
Cool. But just for councillors' awareness, the forum that Rob's just been talking about is under the Te Geta Haranui banner, and you'd all be more than welcome to come along to that session, which is at 1 o'clock on Wednesday the 26th of March. There will be so that's our collaboration with service providers within the district, and this presentation from the ISR team, I think, and Celine Donovan that works, some of you will remember Celine, she works in the family harm space, so it'd be good to get a shared understanding of the issues around that we are facing as a district. It's about trying to bridge that gap and keep our families safe and free from harm and live in a violence-free setting. So if you would like to come along, you're more than welcome to do so. It is Te Geta Haranui is about bringing together the agencies that are contracted to deliver services across our district, and it's about empowering them to understand better the issues that we're facing. So pop it in your diary and you're more than welcome to be there to get her a note. Yep, that's cool. Maybe some questions from the floor or some discussion. Thanks, Robbie. I knew you were going to start.
Oh, and a couple of things, Rob. Starting with the things coming down from the top, the new guy seems to be a different kettle of fish to the last big boss. I wonder if you're feeling any difference in emphasis coming down. And the topical ones at the moment, the citizens' arrest, I think we're talking about the last few days, how you sort of see that. And locally around Amberley, Facebook and that again, there seems to be quite a lot of brazen vehicles being stolen here, almost out of driveways or off trailers. And if that's just Facebook, or if you're noticing any increase in that sort of stuff.
In trailers.
Or just vehicles getting stolen. Quite often you'll see around, oh, look out, we saw this car around here. You know, people obviously, some of them shouldn't, but
There's just recently, especially with some of the criminal fraternity around here, there's quite a bit of gang involvement as well, and taxing, as they call it, bug debts, and stealing cars or taxing the cars back again, and then those people are reporting them stolen where they're not really stolen because they owe thousands of dollars anyway. So there's a bit of that sort of thing going on. So we're working both sides of the fence there, trying to deal to those people. But yes, there are a few other vehicles from different random people just getting stolen. Trailers. Trailers are quite often trailers with no locks on, or very flimsy locks or things. So it's a prevention thing as well. Talking about prevention with the new commissioner, he is very much trying to pull back on the prevention side of things and focus on our core business, which is catching bad guys, and prevention. Really, 15 years ago, we got too far into it probably, and that's why we're seeing that pull back on mental health and family harm side of things, because we're from outside LA. So that's his focus, I guess, at the moment, and we're seeing that he's acting pretty quickly. He's got a few other things up his sleeve, so as well with different restructures in different areas. So I don't think we certainly haven't seen the end of it yet. I don't know if that's going to affect us up here or not. Let's see.
is there a different tone within the police?
Yeah, everyone's pretty happy. Everyone's pretty happy with the way it's going compared to our other commissioner. He's got, seems to have troops backing a lot more to get out there and do the job, and to get the right tools from government as well. Gang legislation is a good example. We were all a little bit sceptical how that was going to work, but as I think we're all probably seeing, it's working pretty well, and some good results, and violent crime is coming down, which is a good sign, and that's got a lot to do with the gangs, I think, too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Explore all your questions, Robbie.
Oh, maybe just about the citizens' arrest thing.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't realised that security guards couldn't even stop someone moving the trolley of goods out of the supermarket. You know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that shakes down. You've seen commentators, rightly so, saying, well, we don't want people doing vigilante arrests and jumping on people and beating them up, and don't want people putting themselves in harm's way and getting shot, stabbed, or whatever. But I think security guards and shopkeepers and things will feel a lot more empowered to be able to at least do that if they feel safe enough or capable enough to do it, as long as they don't put themselves in harm's way. So it's going to be a bit of a juggling act, I think, and using your common sense. The way it is at the moment, it's crazy. People are just walking out with trolley loads of goods and nothing can stop them. So I think it's a good thing, but yeah, it would just be interesting how it all shakes down.
Well, I asked because there was an article the other day, a lady up in court 50 charges in one go they were doing. And typically she just anyone that confronted her was just, you'd either push them out the way or just carry on, just ignore them, and they couldn't live with that. And I was stunned at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business for some people, they're selling high-end groceries and selling them on marketplace. We try and target those prolific offenders, but the rest of them, they just get filed or not even reported.
Of course, or a jeweller's shop. It's really much fun, would it really? You know, it's pretty spooky. That's cool. Good questions. Thanks, Robbie. Is there any other questions from councillors? Or a local level or a strategic level from the police? Thanks, Tom.
And this is just an observation, really. You know, we're obviously living in Hanmer, we've had these accidents, and they always seem to be on a Tuesday, unfortunately. The serious accident unit takes quite a long time to come out, and that is obviously causing considerable delays in clearing the road and clearing the accident. Is it absolutely essential that they come out all the way from Christchurch and those delays and
yes, that is necessary, but we do need to get them moving as quickly as we can. They've got even more restrictions on, they can't blue light to the crash scene now. There's no urgency for them to be there. They've got to travel at road speed, which really is not a big deal. And they're a really busy unit as well. They've got that distance. So we're really aware the clock starts ticking as soon as we need to get them and photography and everyone else involved, and just need to get them rolling as soon as we can. Sometimes it's a bit of a call on whether they're required, whether someone's going to die, whether it's that serious that we do need them. So we talk to them first and talk to the medical staff, ambulance and what have you, to see what possibly is going to happen. But yeah, it takes time. There's not too many shortcuts we can make.
And it's difficult, Tom, because you know the areas where those two recent, you know, there was no logical detour, you know. Yeah. So I mean, and it takes. I mean, I know the Wicker Pass and Karen, you know, even in that recent one at Andrews Ridge, it takes no time at all for the, you know, you've got cars all backed up, you know, like it just takes no time at all, and it was a challenge, you know, but
we're really aware of that.
Yeah.
As police and so every other agents involved, we try and get it cleared up as quickly as we can, but it takes hours.
And you know, I guess in manner of respect for if there is a deceased, you know, I mean, the family would expect the right time and the respect to be given as well. So kind of understand the whole story. Yeah. And
just on that, I guess if you didn't realise any culpable road deaths, like the driver killed someone else, well then it's a CRB matter as well. So we get them involved, so there's a right so as well.
Interesting. I mean, the media with around those accidents to Melbourne Point and looking for fault around the road, you know, and the speed and that. But I mean, I think the main part of it, there was restrictions already in place on a lot of on that portion of road as well, you know. But it's really difficult. They really want something that you can't deliver actually from a perspective. I mean, it's you're in control, not me. I'm not in control of the situation. Of very little to offer. Yeah.
Especially around that, and they want an answer on why the crash happened. If it's alcohol or speed or whatever, we can't give that information for our investigations completion.
Yeah, but it's interesting the tack that they take to try and get to build a story about, you know, to find an issue to talk about, I guess, you know. So yeah, it's challenging. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, councillors? Rob, I reckon you're doing a really great job. You know, I mean, it's good to have a full you know, full suite of police within all of our communities, and you know, even at the Marie show and the weekend, Damo was there in this full kit, you know, walking around, and I just think it's really great when we can see and the evidence of our police walking within their community. And you know, it's great to build that sort of relationship, I guess, because we're here to support you as best we can, and we understand that the challenge of the role that you're performing within your policing boundaries as well. So thanks very much for everything you do, and I guess if there's no further questions, we can break for morning tea at 10:30, and you're more than welcome to stay and have a couple with us if you choose to. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, councillors. We will adjourn. We need to be back here by 10:45 because we've got our next presenter adjourned. very warm welcome to Nathan Beaumont from Chorus, who's going to have this presentation around how we manage connectivity, or how things potentially may be changing in the near future, and I guess some rationale or reasons, why that's going to happen. But Nathan, you'll tell your story and we'll be all ears, so that's great. But I do warmly welcome you here to be with us in Amberley today as on behalf of the Hauraki District Council. It's great to get an update, because it's connectivity is a really important thing for how we function in our personal lives, but actually is in our business community as well. So it's good to know that you're providing those services across our district. But it might be useful just to get some context of where our elected members live in our district, and understand perhaps some issues pertinent to their residents. And I guess that can fold through with some discussions at the end of your presentation. Nathan, we've got another presenter coming in at 11:15, so we've got about 30 minutes to enable you to work through, and then take the Q&A that elected members will have in their minds as well. So yeah, but that's great. So maybe if I can just start with you, Gary. Thank you. Quick
Gary
introduction.
Jackson, councillor for the South Ward, and reside here in Amberley Township.
Great, thank you.
Robbie Broad, South Ward, not Road.
Vince Daly, I'm from up in Cheviot on the East Ward, which we've got a few spots which you not very good on the cell phone coverage, and it'll be interesting how you solve some of those issues.
Great, thanks, Vince.
Hi Nathan, Tom Davies, Hannah Springs, we've spoken before.
Yes.
Got a couple of points I want to raise. Yeah, thanks, nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Dave Hislop from Medbury Dairy Farmer. I'm very reliant on good connectivity with all that technology on the farm. When the internet or something's down, it's a real problem.
Yeah, Nathan was France, Mount Lyford, and actually we've been off copper for quite a while.
Ah, interesting.
We've got a cell tower up there.
Yeah, great.
Cool, thank you, Ross.
Fiona Harris, the sort of south end of the East Ward, and yes, I think we've seen improvements in some of our coastal areas up there. There's still some way to go as we get further off it.
Pauline White, South Ward, living just a little bit to the west in Broomfield. Yep, pretty well connected in that direction.
Thanks, Pauline.
And I'm Karen Armstrong, I live in Waikerie, and worked from home for many years and relied on the connectivity we had, and always valued that. I think, as Dave said, when it breaks down, you go, you realise how much you rely on it. So it's good to have you here, and interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, interesting, because it's sort of during COVID, I think a lot of people really appreciated just how good, well, actually some of you guys from the rural areas maybe not, but sort of, having work from home and educate from home and do everything from home, it sort of brought to the forefront just how important connectivity was.
Nathan, you may not have had a chance to meet our CE, Hamish Dobby.
Yep.
And our community and strategy, Judith Batchelor. And so able here in support, so I just thought I'd round that discussion, so thank you. Look, floor is yours now, Nathan.
So what I wanted to do is I'll quickly run through a bit of a presentation, but I think for me the goal was actually in the questions and the discussion, so I sort of wanted to sort of run through a bit of a high level of what we're doing and how it impacts this area, but also just leave time for having a bit of a yarn and some questions, because obviously I think you guys all have issues or questions or things that have popped up from people that you deal with. So it'd be good for me to understand what the issues are here in particular, and what we can do to support and give help. We do a lot of community events, so get into towns and sort of just do pop-up meetings where people can come in and have a yarn. So that might be something that we can do around here as well, just based on some of the issues that have cropped up. See if this works. Pointing at the right place.
pretty short range, that one.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's okay. It's not hugely critical to actually have it on there anyway, so I can sort of talk through it and I can always send it through as well anyway. Essentially, so what we're doing now is we are starting to retire our copper network. It's been around for a long time. It's getting old, it's hard to find parts, it's hard to find people to actually do the repairs on the network. If you're a young person coming into the industry, you're not really going to sort of train up to be a copper technician because it's just there's no future in that. Whereas, you know, you're going to the fibre network or cell phone towers, that sort of thing. So even trying to find people to train up is just really, really hard. So we've started retiring the network in the areas where fibre is available. So obviously in the township here, we've got fibre throughout. So for the last 3 or so years, we've been gradually retiring the copper network and where fibre is available, because it makes no sense if you've got fibre there. It doesn't really make sense to have a copper network at the same time as well. So that process is probably going to go on for another couple of years. And then the next stage is when we start looking at the areas outside fibre areas, and we're starting with our what's called our CER network, which is basically our country's radio systems, and systems that are basically you've got a tower up in the hills, and it bounces from that tower to the next tower to the other tower, and that system is just, to be perfectly frank, pretty munted. You can't get parts for, you know, anywhere at all. So we're having to sort of take parts from this one over here and put them on that one over here just to sort of repair and sort of keep it going. And there's actually better technologies available. And obviously, you guys are really lucky to have Amurinet here, and they do a fantastic job and actually offer a much better service than what our copper network does. I live in West Melton, and a lot of the farms out there are starting to use Starlink, so that's the satellite service there. Again, just offers a much better service than what copper can. Faster, more reliable. You can stream, you can do video calling, you can basically do, you know, everything you need to. Whereas the CMAR and the copper network, it's the further you are from the cabinet, the slower it is, which I'm sure you guys have all experienced yourselves at some stage. So the reality is it's just not good enough for what people need these days. So conscious that it's quite a daunting thing for people to get their head around, especially when you've sort of been used to having a copper network and you know, for years and decades in some parts, and all of a sudden you get a contact from Chorus and say, hey, look, we're going to retire this network. We're going to help you move on to other technology. You know, and for a lot of folks, that's quite a daunting experience. So we're keen to sort of work really closely with communities and help and educate and hold their hands and make sure that they have all the information and they've got the support, and, you know, working with various groups to help with that support as well. So that's going to be. It's not going to happen overnight, so we're aiming to have it all done by 2030. So I guess it's still 5 years away, but that's going to come around reasonably fast. So we're sort of starting to work on that process at the moment.
Just a question on that. My wife's a district nurse at Cheviot, and she's found that quite a few of the oldies had a problem with their plugging their telephones to the run up, and they said, "Oh, we'll put you on the new network," and they just get in the mail this new box, and then they can't figure out how to. And they don't seem to get any support from.
Yeah, what I suspect that is, and I'm keen to have a yarn further about that, is some of the retailers, like whether it's Spark or 1 or 2 Degrees, they have a separate service which is run from their cell phone towers. So it's called fixed wireless. And a lot of them are starting to not offer copper services, and they put them onto what's called fixed wireless instead, which is separate to Chorus. That's their own network. And we have had some issues in the past where people, excuse me, aren't actually aware that they've been moved on to the service. So what you say is they, a box turns up in the mail, they don't know what the hell to do, or what this thing is, and they're sort of not actually sure what they're on and what they're supposed to do. So yeah, we have had some conversations in the past about that as well. So it's just sort of, I have to be careful sort of what I say, but it's not that helpful for people to be, you phone up your retailer to sort of get some support and some advice about what's happening with your phone line, and all of a sudden they say, oh, we'll send you this flash new box, it's going to fix all your problems, and it doesn't. So if you have any sort of those examples, I'll be
Still happening.
yeah,
She can't.
Well, and look into it on your behalf as well, because that's sort of not useful, because that causes more confusion as well, and angst, and when you sort of have the elderly population having to deal with that, that's not okay in my mind. So yeah, completely agree. In terms of, so a lot of the questions we get around landlines, and so even if we are retiring the copper network, you can still have a landline. It's just the underlying technology is changing. So rather than having your landline over the copper network, you can have your landline over the fixed wireless. So it's called, technical name is voice over internet protocol. So it's basically a phone line over the internet. But you plug it in, you pick up your phone. It still has a dial tone. It acts like a normal landline. So if people want a landline, that option is absolutely there as well. We talked before, actually, I was having a chat to Fiona just around the copper being useful in a power outage. And I think sort of, obviously during Christchurch earthquakes, that was quite a reliable thing. It's almost a bit of a myth. If you've got one of the old school phones that plug into the wall, and as long as our cabinet has a backup battery or our exchange has a diesel generator, that can still work. But if we can't get to the cabinet to recharge it, or can't get to the exchange to fuel the diesel, that's not going to work either. So where we've sort of got to is encouraging people to have their own power backup, whether it's a generator, or you can get reasonably small sort of battery backups these days that last a few hours, which is, I guess that's guaranteed now. Whereas if you can't get to a cabinet that's snowed in, or if it's roads closed or it's flooded, that causes a few issues as well. And then this. Yeah, so that's I guess that's sort of the conversation I'm keen to have a bit of a yarn about today, is with you guys being leaders in your community, what are the issues that we need to be aware of? What are the issues that you guys are already hearing? What can we do to make this journey as easy as possible for your communities, basically? So we don't want to leave anyone high and dry. We appreciate that it can be a daunting thing, so we want to sort of do our part and make it as smooth as possible for people. So yeah, happy to have some questions, or just listen to some concerns, or whatever's the best use of your time to sort of help you guys help your community, basically.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you, Nathan. It's good to get that sort of background to where we're at now and how we can best support our community, because you're right, it's we talked before, it's a change of language of actually knowing what you need to know to get a new service, if that's what you're looking for. For some of us, the young ones seem to have all that language, but some of us don't. It's not our natural language, so you don't know what questions to ask or to know where your issues belong. But anyway, look, I think we should use this next 15 minutes, if you're comfortable with that, to just explore some more localised issues, and if we can identify how we can bridge that within our community. And maybe it's you coming to speak to the group or the whatever group that might be set up already to help people, that would be a good opportunity. So let's see if there's any questions from the team and then we'll go from there. Tom, I'm going to start with you. You've been on speed dial for a while.
Or maybe it isn't speed, maybe it's slow down. 3 points. The fibre in Hanmer seems to have slowed down a bit lately, incredibly fast when it was first fitted, and that seems to have slowed down quite considerably. Would that be for us, or would that be the individual?
So in the in-home experience, you mean?
Yeah.
That's always the challenge. So where the Commerce Commission says to us, we can't have congestion on our network, it needs to be continually, X speed. But then once you get into the home, they might have their Wi-Fi modem might be 5 or 6 years old. They might have the Wi-Fi modem down the other end of the house, and they're actually trying to use it in the lounge. So there's a lot of variables, which isn't a helpful answer. But is there anything more specific?
I know that quite a few of my neighbours at the moment are trying to stream television. It seems to be slow and buffering an awful lot.
And it's only just been recent.
And it's not, and that's not just one, that's several people nearby.
Yeah.
But that's less of an issue. The real issue is the cost of connecting to fibre when it's not far away from you, and the cost for businesses and non-residential issues. And I'm particularly concerned. We've got an educational camp, forest camp down Jolly's Road, Jolly's Pass Road in Hanmer. The main fibre cable comes straight the way down that road right past the camp.
Yeah.
But the cost of connecting into that.
Have you had a quote?
Yeah, 6 figures.
Right.
Which seems horrendous that the cable is just there.
Yeah.
And we've got an educational camp, and some of the schools aren't bothered about internet, they don't want it at all.
Yeah.
But then some of the high schools are coming and they're doing schoolwork and they're doing projects and they're doing sustainability and biology and that sort of thing. And of course they need the internet and they offer that quality service.
What's the address there?
I'll give you the address. I don't know the actual name. It's got a number, obviously, but it's
because we've just started trying to pull together a bit of an initiative where we call it community funded upgrades. So if there's, I don't know how many, if there's other households sort of down that road, but if you can get sort of like a group of households who want fibre to sort of come together, say there's 20 houses, for example, rather than it costing 100 grand for one person. If you've got 20 houses, so then it's 5 grand, and then Chorus will actually come to the party as well and say, okay, well, if you guys are going to put in X amount, we'll put in, say, $3,000 per. Because basically, when we build fibre in, say, this area here, it's roughly about, quite a number, but it's say 3 grand to sort of build it and then connect it. So we're sort of putting together a bit of a proposal to say, well, if we're happy to spend 3 grand here, why don't we sort of take that money and say we're going to make a contribution to this group as well. So if there's, and this is a very near area, if there's an area where there's a good build up of houses and they're keen to sort of put in something towards a fibre connection, happy to have a conversation, because we can say, yep, okay, well, we've got a network here, we think it might cost X, if you guys put in X, we'll put in Y, and see if we can sort of come together and find something like that.
That'd be great. Yeah, this is 8 houses and 2 campsites.
That's 243 Jolly Plus.
243.
Thank you very much.
You would get in.
And the other thing, obviously, I am concerned, particularly today and tomorrow, is because we've got 11 hours without power today and 11 hours tomorrow without power. As I understand it, the internet, which will be provided by the providers, is nothing to do with Chorus, is it? They'll be using their towers around the village for the internet during that period of the outage.
What's the outage for, sir?
There's a planned outage for line renewal and upgrades.
Right, okay, yeah, if there's no power. our network won't work.
No.
And nor would unless the cell phone towers may have batteries.
Yeah, they have batteries and they
Yeah.
have improved their batteries after the most recent outages.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anybody has an 11-hour battery. I think
No,
I think the most is 6, possibly 8.
that's in Hamden.
Yeah.
How's this all gonna happen if we have civil emergency?
Yeah, it's think about 111. There will, anything like that as well. It's a lot of
Yeah.
So
It's a significant outage. Significant enough.
maybe we'll be running some generators within Hamlet to keep parts of the network live, particularly in CBD.
Yes, yeah, the CBD's all
Right.
all up and running.
Right.
And presumably there is a cell tower there somewhere that they'll keep.
There is a cell tower, but as far as I know, the batteries are not long. Whether they've alerted the companies and got them to provide in generators or got their people
You'd assume so,
to back
just
up.
from a safety point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's that? Sorry, when's the outage?
It was today,
Today,
7
yeah.
till
Oh, right,
6,
okay.
7 till 6 today
Right.
and tomorrow.
Right. Okay. I'll check with my guys too, just to make sure that we're actually aware of that, just in case.
What are we building into our systems like if the old one fault goes? You know, and we're so reliant now, we're banking, everything. We're quite a vulnerable society now. Because, you know, you can't write a check out, you can't,
People don't have
you know,
cash.
what happens?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about power being out for 11 hours, what about 11 weeks?
Yeah.
You know, you just.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
So there's a professional grouping of service providers called Lifeline, who work closely with Civil Defence, and they look at all the infrastructure services, including internet, etc., and what the contingencies are. So, you know, there's work ongoing on those things, not just for AFA, but in general. But Lifelines have done quite a lot on AFA and what that sort of scenario looks like and what it means, how quickly they can get stuff back up again, whether it's roads, whether it's internet, so forth and so on. So, and of course it depends what damage is caused, because I mean, if the fibre backbone is damaged, it's going to take a significant amount of repair. But they look at contingencies such as cells, such as satellite and stuff as well. So
I look at Cyclone Gabrielle, and we had into Gisborne, we had diversity, so we had 3 different routes in case, you know, that one went down, or worst case scenario 2 went down, but we had all 3 go down, you know, and we basically were stringing fibre in a helicopter over trees and through rivers, and just to sort of get a temporary sort of service back up and running. But you can have, you know, if we had 4 lots of diversity or 5 lots of diversity, they might have all gone down as well. So I guess from our point of view, there's a lot of lessons that you learn from that can sort of fall into other scenarios. It's more just sometimes you just, you know, you think you plan for the best case scenario, and it still absolutely isn't good enough. Yeah.
But that's where every family and every business actually needs to look at your own and take some ownership. So if you go in like your house, you know, have a generator, have access in rural that your tank, you can get water out of your tank. You know,
We're talking about our whole banking system. It's all very well, do you keep the 100 grand in the bank cover?
Be nice to have. Be nice to have.
You know, when you
What's
think of the
100
logic of it, you know, have you got cash to pay? Your workers?
I've probably got credit that I can go and borrow, have on goodwill from the shopkeeper to do it, to pay back in the future. You know,
You can't bring them and talk to
but you
them.
can, I'm just over this. We need to have some resilience. You need to, like on the dairy farms, we've got generators now. We have to work out that my collars won't work. I've got mating. Well, what am I going to do? Plan B, I'll have to have a bull because I need internet. We're lucky with Chris Robertson and Marionette. That's a little bit.
Yeah.
That still goes when the power's down.
All I'm saying is solar flares, you know, and things like that that can put, you know, I'm just saying, you know, we're getting as a society so vulnerable to, you know, to that, where it's very hard to be resilient because it's out of your hands.
I mean, and I think, and this is kind of off topic for you, Nathan, but you know, certainly the learnings from Cyclone Gabrielle and the cashless society, you know, the messaging now for your, you know, your home civil defence kit, what are you going to do in an emergency, actually is to have some cash there as well, you know, so we've, you know, the messaging has changed, you know, through that event to, it's incumbent on us all to try and manage that, but you know, I mean, I take your point that you're raising, Vince, but you know, there are some different messaging, some learnings that have come from incidents across New Zealand. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got some other questions. Tom, are you done?
Yes, thank
you. Yeah, thank you. Robbie.
Yeah, look, I lost track of the technology not long after going through the telephone exchange, but Chorus is all your fibre optic system, is that? I've got that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the cell phone guys, that's a different system.
It is, yeah.
But you can cross-pollinate between them, can you?
Yeah, and so basically, any cell tower that's here needs fibre to the tower. So, you know, it's likely that fibre's ours, but the actual towers then being built and operated and maintained, that's the, you know, Spark or One or 2 degrees.
So ultimately, it's the fibre optic system through the country, which is the main linkage.
Yeah.
So future-proof, and I'm relating this to something that affected me. Last 2 times I've tried to watch the heavyweight boxing match. And I thought, well, how many people have turned on in New Zealand to watch that? If it's not coping with that, have we future-proofed enough?
Yeah, I mean, the fibre network is unbelievably good. Yeah, that's one of those things you can upgrade it easily. We have the Commerce Commission has rules and regulations in place where we have to have a certain performance. If it's looking like congestion is starting to increase, we've got to expand our network to be able to cope with that. So we've got plenty of headroom. The thing with streaming is there could be it could be the actual platform that the streaming could be. I know with the Mike Tyson fight on Netflix, one of the well-known platforms in the world, but they couldn't handle their platform couldn't handle it as well, all the traffic coming through. So that wasn't a fibre issue, that was a Netflix issue. And then I know I use Sky Go at home, for example, and that sometimes isn't the best platform. And I think, is it my fibre? And it's just the Sky Go app or the platform itself. But again, it's a frustrating thing because the experience for you isn't what you think it should be. And I think there's a collective responsibility for everyone involved to make sure things work as it should, because it just annoys you, doesn't it?
Thanks, Robbie. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Nathan. Most of us here remember phone books. Look up a phone number. And I'm probably the only one in my household that still does, because everyone else looks up the phone number on mine. So, and that's with the landline. So it's sort of frustrating when you want to track someone down. They haven't got a landline anymore. They've got a cell phone. We need a cell phone book. So, legitimate question. It's like,
is there a privacy thing though? People's phone numbers.
Yeah, but we've always had phone numbers. Yeah. You used to have the name, phone number, and address, and a public.
You could choose to have them unlisted.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can still do that with a cell phone book. And I guess then you say, well, who prints it out, or who, you know, because lots of different companies. So that's, you know, it's a first world problem, but there's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah. Is there any solution in the pipeline for a way of finding someone's cell phone number? That
not something that we're looking at, we can control, but
because you know I just still do go to the old phone book, you look up someone's number, and then it's they're disconnected. Because in life, I mean, who has copper now? You've got a good. Why would you pay for a cell phone and a landline.
Yeah.
And that's the choice people are making now. They say, well, we'll ditch the landline and just have cell phones. So, yeah, you actually can't get hold of people because you haven't got their number. You can't look it up. Or the way around is you know somebody who knows this. You say,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
text me their number. Will you?
Yeah, that's true.
I can sympathise with that actually, but I don't know what the answer is.
Okay.
Business opportunity there.
Yeah.
For you, Ross.
Keep up to date.
No, anyway, no, it's good. It is valid, I know
Yeah.
exactly, because I actually threw out all our old phone books, but Dave was keeping them like year on year and year, almost because of that reason, you know, but yeah, anyway, it's interesting. Is there any other questions, councillors? I think this has been quite, sorry.
Just how many fibre optic cables, you know, like, I remember after they call it the Kaikoura earthquake, they're going up north of Parnassus, and there was one of your employees there, he was on the side of the road and I stopped and he was an Indian fella and he said, oh, it's a bit broken. I said, drive up the road. And then I came back and I saw him and he said, I think I'll go home. The whole fibre optic cable that's line smashed up on the side of the road. And, you know, I kept thinking, wonder how do you know, all these linkages, they're like blood vessels, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like when sometimes you see a digger goes through a cable, it's got like 100 fibres in it, and some providers actually got to join every single individual fibre back together. It's amazing what they do. Yes, yeah. So there's, like, I'd hate to think how many fibres there are. It must be tens of thousands. Yeah.
What's the security on them? Because I know there's one on the side of the railway line by us, and it's just sitting on the side of being washed out, and it's just sitting there on the side of the track. You know, if you took exception to it, you could just with an axe go.
Yeah, well, it should be.
It's quite vulnerable, you know, to vandalism.
Yeah, no, if that's a particular area that's exposed, let us know. We could get sorted out. It should.
Who has the one by the railway track?
Oh, I don't know. I assume probably others, but then Spark also have fibre network as well. But if you can give me some directions, we can have a look.
Yeah, she's just so good.
I guess what I've heard today is from you, Nathan, also, you know, perhaps the willingness of any of the elected members sitting around this table are aware of a community group that might value having you come and present to them. They could just make contact, and we could do that through Graham, our governance advisor, and perhaps facilitate that opportunity for our communities to increase their awareness or bridge that knowledge gap, I guess, you know. So I guess if councillors are aware of community groups, young or old, if we can help there, you know, we can all take that away and perhaps utilise the knowledge that you've got that might support our community wellbeing.
And if you have any more questions that sort of come through, or any local sort of come to you with grumbles or questions or concerns, come to me for anything basically. So and if you sort of want me to come back and later stage and have another chat, whatever.
That's
always keen to do that too.
So we worked, you know, we've historically worked with Jo, of course, Jo Seddon, as part of the team.
That's awesome.
And you know, she's helped facilitate some of the connection boxes, you know, in Hammer Springs and in Waikare. We've got a couple of painted,
cabinet art,
cabinet art, you know. So Jo's been part of that, sort of helping us support that. So and so it's good to be able to, you know, join the dots, so to speak, and what you can offer for our community as well. So
that's great, lovely. Thanks so much.
So if there's no further questions, thanks very much for your time. I really appreciated it. Thank you.
Vince will get you some details on where that is.
That's great. Thanks, Vince. I'll look up the Jones Road one as well.
I'll drop you a line for that, and there are, say, 2 camps, and they can.
That'd be fantastic.
Great if we could do something like that.
Lovely. Thanks for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Great.
Thank
Thanks very much. Awesome. Well done. Yeah, we'll get it.
You got the was it?
Not sure how many,
All those places, yeah.
I don't understand.
All over my head.
waiting patiently. Oh, so there's just two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two, we're just.
Oh, good.
Howie,
Hello, everyone. It's nice and warm in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just now. That was the first thing.
I thought you meant it is now because of.
Oh.
That's
okay,
the compliment I was being very gentlemanly.
I get that.
Okay, it's always a great pleasure to have Claire and Heather from Enterprise North Canterbury in our chambers to build and continue to see the benefit that having ENC as a facilitator to support our businesses across the district. So yeah, we warmly welcome you both here today. I think you've met everybody around this room, around this table. We do have Councillor Vanessa McPherson, who's not able to be here today. But other than that, we've got we're all here and we'll be attentive to your presentation. So I don't know how you want to facilitate this, Heather or Claire, or we're in your hands, so you do what you need to do.
Hey, I'm in control.
Good luck. That one.
Use the mute button.
Oh no, I ask questions as I go. Look, it wasn't that long ago that we were here in November, I think it was. So I thought and rather than look back on the last 6 months, I thought that we would talk about the next year ahead, this year ahead, because we've got a lot planned, and it'd be nice that you're aware of what we've got planned and what's available and accessible for your business. So this presentation is to outline that your investment is well placed to ensure that your Hurunui businesses have access to all ENC programs and support that we provide.
You're just pointing out that first picture was Galway.
Oh, sorry, now I've gone a bit way. Okay, right. Of course it is. Yes, we funded that photo. So it's actually MoMAC took it for us. And if you ever want to use any of these images, they're available for any time for the tourism and also Hurunui. So we've got actually most of these were funded by the businesses, as you know, that are in Hurunui, but we got to keep all the images and we're more than happy to share those. So yes, that's Galway. So we have 3 programs that we lead and that are part of our strategic plan. So and they're in 3 themes. So the first theme is about developing and maintaining a strong regional brand identity for North Canterbury. Some of that includes the North Course. This is part of the Made North Canterbury branding. So it is we're only one of the few regions that has a provenance brand called Made North Canterbury. So we're proud of that. Remember, it is just a food and beverage brand that unifies and promotes local producers and of all things that are grown and made here in North Canterbury. The North Course, that's the winners this year, run each November. It connects local producers to local eateries. Last year, November 2024, we had participation up of eateries by 60%, and people who rated the dishes was also up 60%. So our engagement is growing, our reach is greater, and we're actually unpicking today up the lady from Cuisine Magazine, and we're hosting her for 2 days in the region. And some of particularly Dotty and Black Estate, because they really showcased local ingredients for the North Course. So just about everything on the plate was locally sourced, and then of course matched to the local wines or beers. So it's more about the producers, the chefs, and how they were utilised in these eateries, and about, again, our provenance story. So looking ahead, we want to expand the directory. We've got about 64 producers on it already. We want to strengthen our relationships and continue We're actually going to launch a Pie July trail, so North Canterbury, made North Canterbury pies, and we've got some outstanding pies. I hear Harris Farms are opening their shop in the end of March. I was talking to Nick the other day. So that's going to be exciting. You've got your PJ pies and William pies and Sheffield pies. Look, your Paris cafe pies are apparently divine. So it takes the pies out of the North Course, because the North Course is more about a meal and wine and beer matching. But we had so many outstanding pies, and PJ Pies was one of them. So we're trying to give them their own platform through Made North Canterbury. So that's what's going to be happening. We do some supermarket activations as well, but you'll see up in the top right. So when it's the North Course, we display ingredients that are made locally. So North Canterbury, that little arrow is north, points north. Like, to show our regional brand, we'll promote North Canterbury as an appealing place to live, work and invest. So it's about a digital campaign that we want to run. It's to attract talent in business. There's already 2 visitor organisations, Visit Horonui, Visit Waimakariri, that do outstanding jobs. So this is actually about looking for staff. So it's going to give the employers a toolkit to tell people about living here or thinking about moving here, but it's also about investing here. So looking ahead, we want to work with local developers, and that's not just Waimakariri, that's in Horonui as well. Partner with them to attract businesses, boost occupancy rates, and do our best in that regard, but also elevate our marketing and visibility with a Proud to Be Here campaign. So we've had a whole bunch of t-shirts made, black with North Canterbury, but we're going to push out it through a digital campaign, highlighting stories of local businesses who've moved here, and or local sports people as well who are here and that are proud to be here. So if you've got some names, we're starting our interviewing, and we'll be launching this in 6 months. So we want a really comprehensive. This all sits on northcanterbury.co.nz website, and it's run by a team at ENC. Our second theme is about supporting existing and new businesses to grow and prosper, and of course that's the Business Awards last year at the Main Power Stadium. In fact, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. So I'd just like to say we're going to launch it, the 2025 Business Awards this year in June, and hopefully you'll all get to come along to the gala dinner on the 31st of October. Halloween nights or whatever thing, I'm just kidding. So business support is our DNA. That's what we do. We're well connected to businesses, both in Horonui, Waimakariri, and organisations, and we make connections. We also have access to government funding through MB, which has been extended for another year. So till the end of this year at least, we'll have Guy in the position to work one-on-one with businesses, providing the connections to funding and mentors and coaches that are required to build capability. So we're also starting a new series called Business Essentials. It's a free 1-hour session on marketing, HR, finance, using Xero. And our first one is a local lady called Hayley Smith. She lives in Leithfield, and she started her own business recently. And I think our next one's Rachel Claver, and she's actually one of our speakers tonight at our networking function. So we've got over 120 businesses registered to attend tomorrow night. Gosh, yeah. Thank you. And our third theme is a separate contract we have with the Waimakariri District Council. We said growing value, visitor numbers and value to North Canterbury. We didn't say Waimakariri because we do work really closely with Horonui Tourism, as you know, with Graham and the investments he's made in a lot of our projects like the North Course, and also the theming of North Canterbury. So They have used Rody, as I think a lot of these, Rody NZ, that a lot of these organisations are using now. We get to keep the footage and the B-roll, and we send them out to areas that we think are, you know, part of our region that should be showcased. So that's about promoting the district to visitors. We manage an event fund, which I'm sure you guys have as well, but that's managed by an event panel. We run the only physical eyesight in Canterbury and Kaiapoi now, nothing in Christchurch, Timaru, Kaikoura, Oamaru. And also we attended the New Zealand Motorhome and Caravan Association Expo in Hamilton this year with 23,000 attendees, and just outstanding feedback about the Kaiapoi Motorhome and Caravan Association site. Number 2 in New Zealand, and it's got 150 sites, and it's just about full every night. So think about the numbers that, you know, generates footfall in Kaiapoi and surrounds, and omni bikes. Oh my goodness, farming.
It doesn't look like being farming to me.
No, it doesn't, look, ENC is connected to the likes of Fonterra, Landcare Trust, Rural Support. Like, we're in constant communications about what support each organisation can provide. In fact, we just promoted something that Rural Support were running. I'm sure David's told you recently about the dairy industry contribution, and if he hasn't, I'll just reiterate that for Hiranui. 34 million kilograms of milk solids last season, should I say, at around $9.94 per kilogram, equates to $338 million injection into this economy alone. A 50-cent movement in price up or down, whichever way that goes, is equivalent to $16 million. So it's a big shift for us, you know, for that. But the thing that Fonterra tells me is that the dairy sector equates to $22 million in wages for Hiranui, which is 10% of your employment and around 410 jobs. Look, once again, it's the regions leading the way. Construction, hospitality, retail, it's had a tough year. There's no two ways around that. Tourism had a stronger end to 2024 with rising international arrivals and slightly more domestic people travelling. This year we're going for growth. Lower interest rates means more cash in the pockets of everyday New Zealanders. The secret to our success is collaboration. We're such a small team, we cannot work in isolation. A team that shows up for work with passion every day to support local business. Our themes are what drives our results, building a strong regional brand and providing exceptional, accessible business support to all local businesses is what we do. Thank you.
I'd just like to add, with regards to the board perspective, that the board is certainly very supportive of Heather and her team and their commitment to the projects that they are creating. The statement of intent that the board create for the team to work through is really projecting further and further growth for the team and for the businesses in the district. So it's really great to have some solid key aspects that they can sort of grip their teeth into and develop for both communities, which is really strong and helpful. And the resources that have been created, especially over the last couple of years, I think is a significant impact, A, for the people in this room, but also the exposure that we're projecting for the Hiranui and Waimakariri districts. So a well done to the team. And we appreciate your support and input, ideas and contributions. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Heather, for that report, and I think it's always nice to hear, you know, what is actually happening, where we can leverage the greatest result together, because that's what it's all about, really. So I think it's probably raised a couple of questions in the minds of councillors. So you know, perhaps if we move to that now and then see where that leads us. You comfortable with that? Yep, absolutely. Awesome, that's great. So just around the room, councillors, anything?
I might kick off, Murray, and just say that the statement of intent, draft statement of intent will come to the council for comment. Next council meeting at the end of the month. So that's when we'll see it, and those comments will then go back to Heather and the board, and they'll decide what they want to do about them.
Look, I mean, I'll just write it just as a comment. I mean, I just think the North Course has just been, you know, to be able to successfully show and produce such a high level of interest amongst our, you know, under that Providence brand, I think has been really, you know, it's a really success story in that regard. And it was interesting, you know, during that, I don't know, what is it, month or whatever that time.
November,
Yeah, you know, it's amazing the interest that it creates, and not just from the business, but actually those that support the business. So I think, you know, you're on a real winner there, and I think it's
Pie Trail's the same.
oh,
And
look,
it
I'm
is,
sure.
yeah, and it's only run by a 0.5 of an FTE for the whole
Yeah.
year, so it's you know, it's a small part of what we do, but you know, it's yeah, it's a sport team. Harris Farms are right in behind the brand as well. I don't know if you've noticed that every packaging has Made North Canterbury stamped on it, and even as hamburgers, which don't actually, he couldn't put enough room for the logo, he puts North Canterbury burger, I think he puts on his hamburgers, yeah, North Canterbury meat. So, you know, you only need a few more like that. Matt Barber, what your chair of your wine growers committee, he's putting it on his Fern Bank, I think is the name of his label. He's going to put it on there. So the more that raise the brand awareness, the more I think we can start tracking that it is actually adding value.
And I think that, you know, Pie July will be, you know, it kind of just fits, and people are looking for some of that sort of nourishing sort of, you know,
Actually, winter food.
hearty winter food. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the right words, so yeah.
On a Wednesday.
Yeah, and, you know, I think, you know, it's just got a bit of a catch to it as well. I mean, Vince just talked earlier on today about, you know, Nick and the team up in Cheviot and the interest that it's creating from not only Cheviot as a community, but actually, you know, it's a great chance to get people to stop on their way through for a jolly good pie, isn't it, really? And Robbie had a story on Nick around, do you want to just repeat that story, maybe?
Yeah, one of the crew up there said that Nick was going to be selling serving the first pie or the first customer, because he served the first one in the shop or something when he was 14.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, well, he's a butcher by trade.
He's
you
going
know,
back
so-
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and an accountant by trade, he knows his numbers. I know Linda and Richard are really excited about it, and he did say to me the other night, Nick, I've spent way more on that than I should have. It's a story of his life, actually. I didn't buy that farm, I didn't buy 5 farms, you know, it's like, he certainly, you know, goes above and beyond, because he can. But yeah, we're looking forward to that, you know, being almost like the Fairley pies, but it'll be the Harris Farm pies, and encourage, because we've done, you know, meetings with Cheviot Promotions, and we kept saying, what can we do to make more people slow down and stop, you know, and not just toilets, but what can, and I think this will be a game changer for Cheviot, and I think there'll be more come from there. And you might
Is it
say,
actually going to be out of their old butcher shop?
no, but they bought the fish and chip shop next door, so they've knocked down the walls.
Yeah.
And they're going to have the butchery still, but they're having the hot.
So hairdressers and the hammer will have to upgrade their shops.
It's a shame he didn't, but he's going to do the pies, coffee and bakery, he said, so it's not just a pie shop. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
But you did right, the Fairley one stops tour buses, doesn't it?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Looks
Well,
like
people
fun.
divert from Dunedin to Christchurch. I was standing in a queue and they said, oh, come to especially
For a
to
pie,
Fairley
yeah.
for the pies.
You're actually going to go off the main drag to go to it
Yeah,
as well.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, oh, well, any more pie talk? Shall we talk about anything else? Thank you, Fiona, you can
No,
change.
I was just going to make a comment, because I guess I've been sitting around the table a wee bit now, just a wee bit. But and all the work that's gone on over the years, and where you're at, you know, where it's come to today is such a remarkable journey, and this whole the North Course, all of these have taken time to develop.
Oh, yes.
But it's such a great direction, and it's so exciting where it can go. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, this is our 4th year, and you know, you might ask as a council, why is Enterprise North Canterbury leading this, which could be really a tourism product? Because we span both districts, because Waimakariri tourism doesn't and Nurunui tourism doesn't, but ENC has the ability to pull in the businesses, pull in the tourism organisations. They'll be on the phone, they'll be recruiting as much as we will, because it gives them also a reason to talk to their tourism businesses and really, help promote it. And that's the joy of collaborating together, I think.
That's great. Thanks, Heather. Thank you, Claire, for your review. Today, councillors have listened and understand and, have, that will give you continued 100% support. And I think, your tagline around living and working and investing in our communities is something that we're breathing every day of our week as well, and to build that opportunity for talent acquisition within our community kind of fits under that umbrella, and I think so, we're all in this together really, so.
Thank you, and I know that we've done the Move On Up campaign and you've seen all the videos or most of them, but we have had to pivot from talent attraction to business attraction because we had 140,000 people come in last year in the last 2 years, and there's not the same huge need for talent that there was. I'm not saying that there's not a need, there's always been a need, but we do, every 6 months we do business opinion surveys, and that's where we ask about how hard is it to access talent, and it's become a lot easier. So we go, okay, we've got that campaign ready to go, and when it's ready, we will launch it. But now we're doing the Proud to Be Here campaign because we want more businesses to move here, and we want our businesses to tell other businesses why they should move here, and other sports people and other, well-recognised people that we hold in high regard in North Canterbury that can be our ambassadors for these stories.
It's great, these positive stories. It's all
It's
positive.
all about it. Yeah, it's a bit imagery to go with it too.
And it's,
Right.
it wasn't, sorry.
No, you go, Dave.
And maybe it's not, and the comment was made about funding of it from Paranui Council, so I'll leave that offline, but I will push the cause of what you're.
Love it, yes.
So
Yeah.
I'll remember.
Thank you, Dave, appreciate it.
And can you buy the North Canterbury t-shirts at the?
Yes, if you, actually, no, but we could make some available. Did you want to wear one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm going now, I'm gonna put North Canterbury, and Alyssa's going as well, we're gonna start wearing it. I was even thinking about tomorrow night with the networking.
Right.
But she wanted to make it sort of like a launch, whereas we're just sort of giving them the silent, just that, background, yeah.
Subtly aware.
Subtle, yes, subtlety, yeah, so no, I'll give them to you. I think they're about $23, they're not a lot, but it's just branding us and branding out, every opportunity we can get, yeah, I'll be there.
Wonderful.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, are you a large or an extra large? He's a medium, obviously.
Thanks, Heather, appreciate everything, thank you, Claire, really, great session, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Lovely.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, thank you, see you. Got something here that I need to look at. Alrighty, councillors, thank you. That does bring to conclusion our meeting for today. Thank you all for attending and being present, and we've had quite a range of information provided for us today, but I think probably Nathan's opportunity, if there are community groups that you're aware of that might benefit by having someone come and speak, that would be a good opportunity maybe. So with that, I will call today's meeting to a close at 11:45. Thank you, April, for your support. I'm sorry